kids we meet. Okay, now for a story that's personal. We decided it was time to canvass opinions of Kiwis with spinal cord injuries. What do they think about the stem cell debate, the hope of rehabilitation, and maybe the chance to walk again? I've been in a wheelchair for a long time. I don't exactly wake up every morning and think, I'm going to walk. But with the latest research on stem cells, that could be a possibility. There's a lot of debate going on about it at the moment, so I thought I'd ask a few other people with spinal cord injuries to see what they think. It's been 3 decades since Andre Lubber had his accident. Like everyone we interviewed, that day remains very clear in his mind. So we asked Andre how it felt when he found out he'd never walk again.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that first hit me was being told, look, you will never walk again. And I think the first response of anybody in that sort of situation is, surely that can't be right. I must be able to walk at some point in my life. And I guess to some extent I still cling to that.
I just about ripped the doctor's throat out. I just abused the hell out of him. And he was one of the top spinal surgery guys in New Zealand.
I was supposed to go overseas, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll be staying here, I'll do some study. And those were kind of decisions that I made the next morning as I was lying in the hospital bed, because they told me pretty, as soon as I got to the hospital that it was that serious.
I guess as a 17-year-old, I was a little bit blown away by the whole thing, but really just wanted to focus on living life the way I had done up until then, which meant just getting out with your mates, just carrying on with life and being one of the boys.
I think it really hit home when I went to the spinal unit and found out that I had to use catheters, things like that, and that's when it really hit me.
I don't think a spinal cord injury was actually fully explained to me at all when I was in hospital or in the spinal unit. I actually had to do research on the internet, and that's when I learnt more about what a spinal cord injury actually meant, and that if you work really, really hard for the first 2 years, who knows what return you can get back.
For the first 2 or 3 years it wasn't good. I hardly went out of the house.
It was obviously a shock in the first couple of weeks after being injured, but I've kind of just taken it on, my new condition as just a challenge, like how am I going to get around, how am I going to do things, and finding a new way and just treating that as a challenge.
As I listened to their responses, it became clear that for many, the dream of walking remains.
I don't think I've ever accepted that I'd never walk again.
My ultimate goal would be to walk again, won't deny that.
To walk again.
Pure and simple.
Pure and simple.
Every year, more than 100 New Zealanders have an acute spinal cord injury. The vast majority will remain permanently paralysed. Stem cell research offers them the hope of walking again. But so far, the New Zealand Ethics Committee have stumped any plans to go forward with research. We asked our interviewees how they felt about this decision.
I think patients with spinal cord injury should be able to make the informed decision whether or not they want to go through any surgery involving stem cells. It's the patient's right to choose.
I'm a firm advocate. I think it represents a fantastic opportunity of coming up with the ways and means of addressing spinal cord injury as well as a range of other conditions that are affected neurologically.
I see a lot of people coming through the spinal unit newly injured, and maybe they're far too focused on looking for a cure rather than sort of fully participating in their rehab.
For sure. Yeah, no, they're too slow. They should be getting in there and getting something done about it and going hard.
Like, we've been doing this for 22 years now, trying to get it through. Yeah, it's about time it happened. I mean, these people are playing God. It's my big chance to, my big goal is to travel. I want to travel. And apart from me sitting on a toilet all the way to Europe and back in an aeroplane, it's not going to happen. Whereas this could give me the chance to do that. Before doing this story, I didn't know much about stem cell research, but Karen has actively researched any medical advances. She's been in a wheelchair for 9 years and is ready and willing to line up. I'm willing to be one of the first human guinea pigs out there, and yeah,
I'm definitely at the top of the list.
I think I'd be first in line with a whole lot of questions. I think I'd like to know a whole lot about what's going on, and I'd have a lot of questions to ask, but I'd definitely be up there at the front.
I think that animal trials have proved a lot that OEC cells work, and now human trials are needed, and that's the only way to advance and get an effective treatment.
Because I'm in such a great position, I'm only a paraplegic, I can drive, I can work, I can live independently, I've lived overseas. I would have a lot to lose if something went wrong.
I'd go and wait and see what happened with older patients like me who've been in the chair for 15, 20 years, and then I'd look at it and say, right, it's worked for them, my turn now.
Possibly if I were going to put my name down, I would have to do some serious rehab even before the operation.
Yeah, I would.
Why?
Why? Well, somebody's got to do it. I'm 50 years old now, and I'm only going to get one shot at it. I mean, like, if it keeps on going, like they're saying in Australia, we should wait for Australia to do it, and wait 10 years and see what happens. Well, I'll be 60 by then, it'd be too late for me. I mean, this is my shot at it.
Certainly would. I'm not sure if I'd be number 1 of the queue, but I would be number 2 or 3.
Everyone thinks it's about walking, but research doesn't necessarily offer that certainty. The people we spoke to would be happy with even smaller gains.
For me, it would be my hand function. Having full hand function would be great. Level of independence on others would diminish, and I'd be able to do so much more for myself.
With using my hands, I could get out in sports better, beat you on the wheelchair rugby court better, things like that, but I'll never walk again.
Just a slight absence of pain or more bladder control or, something like that would still be a huge bonus for me.
They actually starting to get sensation and feeling in the bowel, and if I just got that, I would be absolutely stoked. That would make my life. I've always said my disability is not being in the chair; it's basically my bowel that's the problem.
Personally, I'm fairly lucky with the whole bladder and bowel and sexual function thing. Probably a lot luckier than a lot of other people. So it's not a really big issue for me, but yeah, getting up and walking would be.
Oh, definitely to be able to walk, absolutely. To be able to walk and climb upstairs and, just, have a dance, exactly, absolutely. Just, that would be amazing, absolutely.
This is a hotly debated topic. The Ethics Committee have said they don't want to give people false hope by moving forward with this research.
If they knew what we went through in the day, they would say, yeah, let's make this happen.
Stem cell research is an incredibly complicated and intricate area of scientific endeavour, and I think one of the difficulties that we face at the moment in terms of making a whole range of decisions, both ethically and as a society in terms of how we address stem cell research, is the absence of easily digestible knowledge about what it actually entails.
Yeah, I guess when you get really passionate about something and you've got a personal interest, you can only see, right, we need this is the only way forward, we've got to have it, and so that's when it gets, really emotional. But with these kind of things, you do just need to take your time.
I don't think they've ever been thrown in this position to make this decision before, but somebody has to make it, because, this is the pioneering stage of it all. Somebody has to do it. Why did the Barrett boys do the first heart operations in New Zealand? They're saying that we shouldn't be doing this research, we don't have this expertise. But, what's the sense in doing any research in New Zealand if we're not going to do this?